Well, as I mentioned in my editorial at the beginning of the program, Anthony Albanese has claimed natural disasters have become more intense and more frequent during his time as Prime Minister. The Australian's Environment editor, Lloyd, joins me now. Graham, welcome. You wrote a great piece in The Australian claiming that Anthony Albanese saying that these things have become more common over the last couple of years only serves to demonstrate that our leaders are losing all sense of perspective. Talk to me about why you think that is.
Yes, good evening. Well, look, I was simply making the point that what seems to be getting lost is the difference between weather and climate. Weather is something we get every day and we sort of forecast with varying degrees of precision. Climate is something quite different. It's something that is analysed over a 30-year horizon of averages. So that makes the notion that anything can be deducted from 2.5 years in office by the Prime Minister is quite ludicrous. Of course, it's sort of symbolic of a bigger issue that it's become retail politics to quickly make these comments all the time that, look, this is the worst ever, this is the biggest, this is unprecedented. And we should never stop calling out this on the facts. The facts don't often demonstrate what's being claimed, and it's important that we have a sense of what is actually going on. I think the Prime Minister's objective was to take a helicopter trip over a really historically not significant fire in Victoria and announce a new program for the government to give money to people who are impacted by natural disasters. Now, that's all very good. But what we should really be doing is focusing on what policymakers can do to combat things that are a regular occurrence rather than pretending they're something they're not.
Yeah, indeed. Well said. And of course, it doesn't hurt the Prime Minister to talk about climate change and, natural disasters if it helps people to get behind the renewables push, which I want to ask you about because something very interesting happened over the last couple of days. There's a $2 billion wind farm project that was supposed to be built off the South Australian coast, but we now learn has been scrapped and without explanation. The proposal was put forward by the British company Australis Energy and the German group Skyborn Renewables. It was a 50-50 joint venture partner back in 2022, but now it's not going ahead. Tell us what we know about this project, why it was so contentious and why is it being called off all of a sudden?
Well, this was called the Kingston Project, and if there's an unusual feature to it, it was going to be built half in state waters and half in Commonwealth waters, which are further offshore. The state government objected to it and said, look, there would be an impact on fishing and other recreational things. They didn't want it. So the company said, well, we'll just move it further offshore into totally Commonwealth waters. But now it's been scrapped. And this is really the trend. The offshore wind projects are being cancelled in New South Wales and other places and around the world because the truth is the economics just don't stack up. So it's becoming much harder to build offshore wind projects due to inflation and bigger running costs and other things than were anticipated. So we're seeing these projects being scrapped, and this leaves quite a big hole in the projections of where Australia is going to get its power from in the future. So it's something we should watch very closely.
Now, the other thing I want to ask you, Graham, of course, it's been pretty warm on the east coast of Australia this week. So I can't imagine how households trying to keep the lights on during a cost of living crisis are paying for their aircon as well. But it's been revealed that more than 8,000 Queensland homes had their aircon remotely cut off earlier this month to ease pressure on the grid. Now, the affected households had signed up for the Peak Smart scheme, it's called. If you sign up, you get a rebate of about $400 when you buy an air conditioner. But here's the catch. A signal receiver installed in the unit allows the government-owned energy companies to control your aircon at home and cut it off when the grid is under pressure. Do you think people knew this when they applied for the rebate? And this is not a good thing that people would be happy about.
Well, I think they probably didn't think about it as hard as they should have when they took the money. But really, it's symbolic of what's going to happen in the energy market more broadly. Smart meters and other things are being put in so the authorities can control the power supply to a house across a whole range of appliances. This is how they plan to deal with shortages of production in the future, and it's something that rich people will suffer a lot less than those who can't afford it.
Well, that's a pretty dystopian view of the future, Graham. If it gets to the state government, some bureaucrat in Canberra decides I can't use my dishwasher or my aircon because of the grid, gee, I hope we don't end up there. But it's looking that way, isn't it? Graham Lloyd, appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for joining me.